Well, good evening, everybody. I may be a little bit in the dark here. I have to move the camera back in order to get the table in. Anyway, this is sort of a continuation on from our episode where we talked about my Pathfinder water bottle kit. And so there we go. Now, tonight, I just came in. I've been out in the cold north wind at the radio control model airplane field and got a chill, so I said, right, good night for ramen noodles. I was going to make coffee instead. Earlier, that was my plan, but I thought, no, we're going to go with noodles tonight. And we're going to go with using the Pathfinder stove. The alcohol burner one, that is. And so, I'm just going to resort to starting it up so that it'll have a chance to come to a bloom. And oh yes, I heard it, and yes, I felt it. Okay. Now, doing ramen noodles, of course, after we come to a boil, we have to face the prospect of keeping it boiling for a while. I know I've tried them with a small micro jet stove, and we're going to get to that one of these days before long. My plan was for coffee. However, I did try it out the other day using the burner, the alcohol burner, with the wood stove or the wood burner stove part, that I had so much fun with, and it's in the kit. I left it there. And it burnt a hole about this big that was discolored in the center. Okay, I think we probably, maybe not quite yet. Anyway, ramen noodles calls for 2 cups. And I'm curious to see if I can make them in here, or if I have to pause it and grab a different container. So, 16 ounces it calls for. And yeah, you could go a little bit less if you don't want a lot of liquid. However, let's follow the directions on the package, shall we? Okay, so we'll stick it on. Stick on the lid, and I put it on tight so it'll pop when it comes off. Okay, and we can set it aside, and yeah. We're getting some activity there. Of course, if it had been warm, it'd be different. It's been sitting in the car since Saturday. I took it with me on an outing that did not permit me to. Okay, now we're starting to get some action. Anyway, I didn't have time. It turned dark, real dark, before I get a chance to use it. So, anyway, we're going to see if we can heat up this water to a boil. Boil the noodles. And if we don't, then I've learned my lesson about having the alcohol burner down near 0. Temperature right now is only about 8 or 9 degrees centigrade. You might be able to tell I got this old jacket on, and it's similar to a lumberjack shirt over top of a t-shirt. And so we want to, we're starting to get some heat. I can feel it coming out the sides here, but it may take a while. The main thing is we find out how dependable it's going to be now, instead of counting on it out duck hunting or moose hunting or whatever, fishing late in the season, cold day, and you're in an area where you cannot use a wood fire. You have to count on your alcohol burner, and we want to know that we can count on it. So anyway, the wood stove portion of the kit, I'm going to try that one with a Trangia later in the summer. Fellas had said that they had used this burner with it, and it worked fine. Well, I didn't find that at all. It didn't heat it up. I took that off and put on this Old Faithful that came with the burner, and in no time I had boiling water. Made coffee. It was about this time of night, and don't you know, I didn't check, and it was not decaf. I stayed awake until 7:30 in the morning after having breakfast and doing that kind of stuff, and went to bed again about the third or fourth time and finally got to sleep. Anyway, yeah, we're starting to get some heat here now. Yes, I'm getting to see we do have a good flame there now. That's great. Okay. Anyway, what else? I wanted to apologize too for my former video ending so abruptly. Believe it or not, I had trouble for about a week trying to upload that thing with the different software off my MacBook Pro, and I had nothing but grief. So I ended up, when I finally uploaded it using iMovie, I saved it from the format into the MOV format of the other program. iMovie uploaded it, and lo and behold, it didn't upload with the title, and it didn't upload with the conclusion. And my apologies for that. And I appreciate your patience with me. I have purchased a software package. I'm trying it on the Windows notebook, and if it works well, I'll probably end up having it on both computers because I want to have that versatility. In the meantime, of course, oh yes, we're starting to get warm. Unfortunately, it may take 5 or 10 minutes or so, but anyway, that's fine. What else have I done? Well, here's an addition to my kit. My buddy didn't send me a comment, he sent me an email. He said, you forgot first aid kit, first aid supplies, and a day's medications. And yeah, the day's medications, I have to make a special package for that, and I'll be doing that possibly later tonight or tomorrow night, not sure anyway, but this week I have to fill up my meds for the next 3 weeks, and I'll do it. This is a Hazard 4 kit, and it came, I had the patch joined with it. Got it from Urban Tactical, or the 511 people here in Winnipeg. And it's, matter of fact, I'm going to disconnect it, and I'll show that to you while we're waiting for this pot to boil, shall we? Okay, so it's got the Molly compatibility on the back, on the sides, no problem. I like it's got a good catch there, and the whole flap comes over, massive flap. Now it has a pocket in the front, and for a demonstration we'll stick the spork in there. Okay, so you can see the spork pretty much disappears, just the tines of the fork sticking out. I tried putting a few things in there, but I was concerned that they might fall out. The top is like a pocket, and you undo the zip and open it up just like that. Now I've got stuff in here that might horrify some people. I even stuck in a Bic lighter, extra strength Tylenol. When I get a backache, I get a backache. Now I've got gauze pads, 2 different sizes of gauze pads. The largest is a 4x4. I've got gauze rolls. I've got Band-Aids. I have not yet dug out disinfectant wipes or swabs, but that's on the list. So I can just unhook it quickly and stick it on another kit with me. I'm not sure as I'm going to have much more in it. It wasn't the perfect kit, but by all means, you know, I think it's pretty fair. I don't want to load myself down, so this one, what I did was I just snapped it on with the snap from holding the shoulder strap on. Snapped it on too, so it's not permanent at all. And I'm thinking that that will probably serve me quite well. Oh yes, the pot is starting to get warm. The handles are even getting warm. That's a good sign. Anyway, I've done that. What else have I done? Oh, anyway, tonight we want to find out also how well I can do using the simmer ring and the snuffer combination, because I know when I get cooking, once we've got the noodles in there and it's boiling, we're going to have to tame it down a little bit We don't want it to boil over. I figure that my calculation is it's going to come close to filling that cup up. And that's fine. It should work out just great. And hopefully the light will stay with us. The sun is still shining on the trees, but it is getting low. And the time right now is, yeah, it's 20:45 just about. So, you know, the time is moving on, but that's okay. We'll give it a try. That's it. I haven't had any other comments on my that last video, except for I had a fellow amateur radio operator stop by today. On his way by, he had a half an hour, 45 minutes to visit, and he said, "Ted, I loved your last video. It was great." And I really appreciate that. He used to work at the CBC, and he's edited videos professionally. Of course, that was film videos, not digital. And we've arranged that we're going to spend some time, him getting used to the software and helping me get things worked out, hopefully a little bit better. Between him and I think some of the possibly other members of the Winnipeg Amateur Model Movie Makers Club probably will be a great help to me. Not hard to tell I'm impatient here. However, well, you know how it goes. I'm going to take this off. Oh yeah. Steaming, there's bubbles. Good. I'll just sit the lid on. And so I want to have things prepared that we can move along. I made a video, made coffee, and came out to 25 minutes, which was a little long. I didn't have the aim to have videos turning out that long, especially not so young, early in my experience doing this. Anyway, I'm just taking out the flavor pack. Well, now, when I shopped to buy these ramen noodles, I bought them in Yuma, Arizona. Fella in the same aisle, he was shopping for other soups with his wife, and he said, "Well, you might find that those are a little strong flavored." And it could be. I tried them, like I say, with a little jet boil stove type. And I forget the name of it. It was one of those bargain ones off of Amazon Canada. Tasted not too bad. A little on the salty side, but anyway. So I'm hoping that we can move right along and get this done. Wanted to get it done before the darkness wipes out our endeavors. And I'll try to brighten it up a bit with the software and the computer. Also, the viewer that I'm watching probably is aimed a little low, which, of course, as you know, with those viewers, if you're not looking straight on at 90 degrees, you get a little bit of light differences there. So I'm hoping, and still not boiling. Okay. It's a good thing I filled up the burner after the last episode, before I put it away. So I have no doubt that it's good for 45 minutes or so. And if this thing takes that long to make my soup, it will be a definite warning to me that I shall not make ramen noodle soup. A cup of soup using 8 ounces probably would be much more appropriate. But anyway, had to try. I've got a good flame showing there. It's moving right along, and it's a good way, hey guys, in the wintertime, to warm your hands. Now, I don't know how it's going to work in the winter. I know for the Trangia, they have the winter kit that actually preheats the Trangia heater stove. Whether that's a necessity or not, or just a nice thing that makes it work a lot better, I'm not too sure yet. I've seen a few comments on it, and I'm waiting for more. But in the meantime, this thing is making sounds at me, and it's got a good flame. I don't know why it is that they tend to come out with a bit of orange in the flame when they get heated up. I'm using 99.9% methyl hydrate. I believe that's what it is. I have not seen in Canada yet the bottles of heat, and I know that you can only use the one. The other one doesn't do very good at all. and the distilled methyl hydrate mentioned in a lot of videos. My paint store doesn't carry it. They find that their customers, the methyl hydrate 99.9% is just fine with them. So I'm hoping that that'll turn out to be good too. Okay, I'm going to just turn this chair a little bit. Sitting on the edge of the crossbar at the front is not the most comfortable. Okay, so in the future, what can we see? Well, I'm going to work with this. I'm going to be trying the Trangia with some things. I'm going to be using the small canister stoves. I got a couple of them, and we want to get them. And then I want to do more in depth with my hobo stove. I've got one that hasn't even been burnt in yet. Can you believe that? I've made so many of them that one's not been used yet. So we're getting steam now. Oh yes. And bubbles. It shouldn't be long. So that's my plan, is to cover the stoves. And of course, we still haven't finished segment 3 of my knife kit thing. And I'm sure that that's gonna, we have a cleanup bee going in the garage on the weekend, so hopefully we can find all the components I need. There's not much. And I'm going to be using some items that you maybe never thought of too. For me, it doesn't have to be complicated or difficult. It does not have to be one of those arduous tasks. And as I've heard it mentioned numerous times on the web, you don't have to sharpen your knife every time. In other words, bringing back the edge with a strop. If you can do that and keep it in shape, that's so much better than having to use an oil stone, water stone, a diamond, you name it, all the different choices. Of course, ceramic rods too. They all have their purposes, and I gotta admit, we'll look at the things that I use, what I've learned so far from my mistakes. Nope, not quite. It's getting there. I think actually I'm going to stick these guys in because it's so close to a rolling boil. The bubbles are coming up in the center, but it's not a rolling boil yet. It's not a hard rolling boil. So I'm going to be putting these in a bit at a time and see if we can get them all in. That's my game. I wanted to learn for sure if this is possible. I do have an MSR pot that I love, and I have another pot that I'm going to forget the name on. But anyway, so far this pushes us up to the 20-ounce mark, and we're almost there. And the main thing is that we don't boil over, put out the flame. We don't. And if I was doing this with a regular pot, I must admit, I wouldn't even break up the noodles. Okay. Now, I'm going to move the camera to give you a shot of this before I stir them in. I think you'll find it kind of humorous. Okay. There you can see them. Quite full. And yes, there's bubbles starting to form. That's good. Doesn't hurt a bit. And I'm going to move the camera in as close as I can get it. And I guess that's going to be it. Because otherwise, I got lectured about cutting my head off. And so, we don't want to do that, do we? Okay. Yeah, we're starting to get foam on the top. And I think it calls for 3 minutes, but I'll just double check. Yes, stirring occasionally for 3 minutes. Like I said, we don't have a rolling boil yet, but it's so close. It's within 10 degrees probably, centigrade or Fahrenheit of that. So on with the lid, because we know it heats up quicker that way, doesn't it? Okay. So this is going to be my trial. The burner is working well, I think. Obviously, it's not going to have the same temperature range as any of the fueled stoves, as in butane, propane, naphtha, you know the kind. Whoops. There I go. See? Okay, off with the lid. Now what I'm going to do is see how much we can adjust this thing. And I know you can't do it a whole bunch. Okay, let's see if that flame will be enough to keep us boiling. Okay, I'm getting bubbles. Good stuff. Because as I had learned experimenting the other day, that little wire loop on the lid of the snuffer, you can only open the snuffer so much. And I wasn't sure if the wire loop would get in the way of functioning. Now, it's not boiling anywhere near as hard as it did. However, it is boiling. Now, whether or not, no, we can't do much more than that. So, I like to put the spoon and lid and stuff on the package instead of, I've noticed a number of people, they put the lid on the ground, inside down, on the dirt. Oh, goodness. My wife, if she was with us, would throw a fit with that, wouldn't she? Yeah. Anyway, I still have steam, and I'm not sure. Yeah. I'm going to see if I can move that a little bit and get a little bit more open on the opening. Ouch. Not really, nope. Okay, so experiment failed. Yeah, that's okay. We'll just let it do its thing for a couple more minutes, since it's not boiling hard. And I think that this will turn out to be okay. I hear it popping away there. Now I'm going to cheat a little bit. And grab the bail. I want to bring that more to a boil. Okay, so we know that we can only open it so much, of course. And I had not opened it quite far enough. I suspect even, you know, when you look at it here, you can see how little I got it open. There's only so much you can do with that windscreen on it. And that could be a case of one of those times where you'd fit it inside a hobo stove, giving you more latitude there. I suspect that just the outer part of this thing would even reduce the flames somewhat, you know. We're going to find out on that one day possibly too. And meanwhile, I'm going to watch. I want to see this thing actually come back to a boil. But anyway, getting bubbles again, there's foam, getting the steam again. And it won't be long before we get the bubbles again. That's good. Now, And there we are. So, my thoughts, well, definitely it'll make ramen soup in the cup. Be careful. It might be good to make sure you have the ground leveled off a little bit so it doesn't rock, or you might spill when it starts to boil. But otherwise, the burner is doing just fine. I know the temperature had dropped quite a bit in there, and it's coming back up again. I just want to make sure the noodles, of course, are cooked, right? Okay. And I think that that's not going to be a problem. Let's see if I can snag one and sample it. And it's starting to bubble a little bit. Okay. Yes, the noodle is perfectly done. That's great. I'm going to sit this down. We're going to close the shut off. And yeah, I've used about 1/3 of the alcohol that was in there. So, of course, to do it, I didn't think of crunching up the powder inside the package, but that's okay. We want to let it sit for a few minutes so that flavor attack the noodles. Okay, I'll let you have a look at that as well. Why not? It's not a real dark concoction, as you can see. How good it's going to be, I know, because I've already had ramen soup. No, it definitely is not. Okay, it is not, for instance, my favorite chunky soup from a can, or any of those kinds of soups. But it's a good way to warm up. Now also, it's steamed off, there's actually, the content went up to about 18 ounces from the 16 ounces of water. So anyway, because it's in that hot cup, we have to let it cool. And I'm going to let the stove cool off as well. And we'll clean this stuff up. But I'm not going to keep you around for that. No. So instead of that, what I'll do is I'll just rest back here for a moment, lean on the barbecue. Okay, I'd like to thank you for joining me tonight. You can hear the birds. They're always happy around here. You know, if you got trees, you got birds. Most of the time anyway, and if you don't, there's something wrong. Some beautiful ones, the songs I love. So anyway, thank you for joining me. And I know I'm with the birds. That's okay. Thank you for tuning in. And if you have comments, sorry, I'll change that. If you have suggestions, not subjections. If you have suggestions, by all means, I'd appreciate that. If you have ideas for something for me to try, a number of you have done that, and I appreciate it. You know, if you have you wish to share my video, by all means. And I sure would appreciate likes. Those little thumbs up are an encouragement. It shows me that I'm hopefully learning and getting somewhere. And subscribe. I'd love to have you subscribe as well. And if you would, recommend it to your friends and family as well. We'll try and get into more active outdoor stuff once the ground dries up again, because we're 3 days of rain should be dried up in a day or two. So hopefully we can get out and actually do something outside in the woods instead of on my deck table. All the best to you. Wish you the best. Enjoy the summer. Enjoy yourself, whether it's camping in your backyard with your grandkids or with your children, or if it's kids camping by themselves, mom and dad are sleeping in the house, great stuff. Enjoy it. I always did. And we look forward to talking to you soon. That's it now from Paradise Village, that is. Have a good night. Heads clear.